Hey Deca members, this is a sample roleplay for the Hospitality and Tourism cluster. And today we'll be walking you through what to do. In the Principles of Hospitality and Tourism event, you'll have up to 10 minutes to review the information below and prepare your presentation. During this time, you will be given a pencil and copy paper to help plan your roleplay. Then after the 10-minute planning period is up, you'll have 10 minutes to present your roleplay to the judge.
Also, remember when you present your roleplay to the judge, introduce yourself in your assumed role and give a firm handshake while asking to take a seat.
In every roleplay, you will have to assume the role of a specific person in a company, while the judge will often assume another role that is usually your superior. The roleplay will ask you to execute a task or provide a solution for the given situation by incorporating the performance indicators you're given.
So as we can see on the first page of the role play, we have three important pieces of information. First, we have the directions, which are basically going to be the same for every role play. Then in the top right, we have the cluster and instructional area. Your cluster is basically the event that you're doing. And then your instructional area will be the overarching theme from which your PIs are pulled from. So for instance, this role play's instructional areas communication skills. So all the PIs will revolve around communication.
The last important piece of information on the first page is the performance indicators. Performance indicators are basically the main points of your roleplay, and you will have to specifically mention them, describe them, and show their connection to your solution. So for this roleplay, the performance indicators, as you can see, would be explain the nature of effective verbal communication, explain the nature of effective written communication, distinguish between using social media for business and personal purposes, and employ communication styles appropriate to target audience. So now that we have an idea of what the PIs are, you might want to quickly jot down the answers to these PIs so we can get an idea of how to incorporate them when we read the event. So for instance, for effective written communication, something to jot down would be that this type of communication is usually professional, concise, and organized.
So now that we've read our performance indicators, let's keep those in mind while we read the event situation. So you are to assume the role of the maitre d' at Garnet, a 4-star restaurant in a city of 200,000 people. As maitre d', you are in charge of reservations and overseeing the waitstaff and busboys. You are the very first person guests communicate with when they arrive at the restaurant. You will be speaking with the general manager or judge to encourage Garnet's presence on social media. Garnet is an extremely successful restaurant in the city. It is open for dinner service Tuesday through Sunday and features a full bar, a seasonal menu, and is in very high demand. Reservations are often booked months in advance for Saturday or Sunday night service. The general manager is traditional and does not believe that the restaurant needs to have a presence on social media and also feels that it is unprofessional. Since the restaurant is most often full, the general manager does not see the benefit in social media. You have decided to take on the role of the voice of Garnet on social media. You must convince the general manager of the effectiveness of social media and how style can match the professionalism of the restaurant. You must also explain to the general manager how you can communicate with customers arriving to the restaurant about Garnet's social media presence. You will explain effective communication to the general manager in a role play to take place at the front desk. The general manager will begin the role play by asking you about effective communication. After you have given the general manager an explanation and have answered the general manager's questions, the general manager will conclude the role play by thanking you for your work. So now that we've read the role play, it's time to start planning our presentation. It's a good idea to plan out the key points relating back to the performance indicators on the sheet of copy paper that was given to you at the beginning of the role play. This helps you create a more streamlined and organized presentation.
So as you can see in this role play, we will be assuming the role of the maitre d' for the Garnet restaurant, and you will be speaking to the judge, who is the general manager. So also your main goal in this role play is to convince the judge slash general manager to implement social media for the restaurant while answering the performance indicators along the way. Really, your performance indicators will push your role play forward, so you should discuss them in a logical order that fits with your argument.
Also remember that this restaurant is very high end. So keep in mind when you're discussing your strategies, as that will impact what type of social media you use and the types of customers that are coming in. The details presented to you in the event situation are extremely important for you in answering your questions.
So for every role play, it's also a good idea to create a visual that goes along with your presentation. You will create this visual on the piece of scratch paper that was given to you at the beginning. So for this role play in particular, you could make an example of a social media page and discuss the various elements and components of the page and show how they relate to good communication. This strategy will really help you stand out to the judge.
After you finish presenting your solution, you should always recap the main points of your solution and relate them back to the performance indicators, asking the judge if they have any questions. The judge at the end will ask you 2 questions, so make sure you're prepared to answer those as well. Throughout the presentation, you might occasionally answer the judge's questions prematurely. So be sure, as you are going through your performance indicators, to occasionally ask the judge if they're following along or if they have any questions or comments. Finally, at the end, you want to thank your judge for your time and say something along the lines of "It was good doing business with you," or I hope to work with you in the future." Then, finally, make a firm handshake, stand up, push your chair in, and leave the competition area. Is that it?
Yeah,
I think that's
okay.
good.
Check if that's like if the video came
Yeah,
out good or
yeah.
something.